Have you ever reached out to a dream partner but didn't get a response? Or maybe have you ever wanted to connect with somebody that's been in the space for a while but you didn't have something of value to add or you didn't have a reason for reaching out to them? Well, I'm going to talk to you about how a book can actually help you connect with your dream partners and why a book can be one of the best assets to have in your toolbox for expanding and building your network. Now, a book it's more than just a way to get sales, okay? It's one of the best ways to expand your network, to get people to know about you, and for you to level up the people and the circle that you have around yourself to ultimately help you achieve your goals and to just meet really amazing, amazing people. I can't tell you how many amazing relationships have come out of me writing books. I'll give you a perfect example. Book 1 came out May 1st, 2016, called Elevate Beyond, and I got asked to be on a podcast. This person who did this podcast is now 8 years later at the time of this recording, one of my really good friends. We've stayed in touch all this time, all because of a book. We've done deals together. We've worked together. We've helped each other out. It's been amazing. My second book, okay, you never know who you're talking to until you know. Okay, my second book, Elevate Your Network. I was talking about the book. I was saying my book's coming out, and I had a conversation with my childhood rabbi, okay, the guy that helped me with my bar mitzvah. And he told me that the book that I was working on was really great, and he wanted to connect me with somebody. Well, he had a contact in China. And so he made an introduction to me and this educator in China. And what happened was it turned into my first international speaking tour. I then got invited before the book was even out to do a 10-day speaking tour in China. This is the power. When you have a book, it facilitates new levels of conversation. It facilitates new conversation in general. And here's a really awesome thing to note. When you have a book, you're very interesting to other people. And so when you're talking about a book, becoming very interesting to other people piques curiosity, which likely increases the amount of conversations that you're going to have. Now, there's a quote that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it's by Maya Angelou. And she says, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. And I believe that not just the words on the page can create an emotional reaction, emotional response from your readers, but I believe that the art of giving your book, the art of talking about your book, the art of the confidence that you exude when speaking about the content in your book, all of these can elicit positive feelings and emotions in other people and can help them feel really spectacular. Okay? Another example, and this has happened over and over again, is people don't ask and I just give them a copy of my book. And that's what they remember of their experience with me is, oh, we had a great conversation and he gave me his book and he signed it for me. That's so nice. Right? And so when we're talking about building our network, the first thing that we got to talk about is, one, if you have a book, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what circle you might get in. You never know who you might meet. Okay, I'm at a conference and I got copies of my book in my backpack. Well, I meet this legend in the digital marketing space and I'm just chatting with him, thanking him for writing his book because his book had made me feel a certain way. And I'm like, hey, this is amazing. I'd just love to give you this as a little thank you. He asked me about my book. I ended up giving him a copy of my book and we took a picture and that started our relationship. All because he had a book that inspired me and then I had a book on the back end and we had that common shared similarity. Okay. So having a book is an incredible way to connect with your dream partners, with new relationships, with mentors, with customers. Okay. And so when you have a book, you can build relationships with the biggest names in the industry. Okay, the way that I first met Pat Flynn and John Lee Dumas, and I'm not going to say I have the greatest relationship with them, but I have interacted with them and I've known them and I hope to get to know them better as time goes on. But the only reason that I got through the door was because I was working on a book, invited them to be part of it, because I was working on a book and shared that with them. The book got me the introduction, that got me the initial part of the relationship. What you do after you get an initial interaction or an initial introduction, that's entirely up to you as the author or as the person who has your own agenda for your life, okay? But you can use your book too as a way to pass along contact information at the end of a conversation. So at the end of a conversation, this is kind of a good philosophy, okay? At the end of a conversation, the old way of doing it was at the end, oh yeah, let's stay in touch. No, you're not. But what you would do is you'd give your business card. That was easy. You just printed a bunch of business cards for really cheap and you started giving them out. But this is an even better and more unforgettable way, is when you're finished at the conversation, give somebody a copy of your book, and that's going to be a way that they won't forget you. Why? Because they're going to carry it around. It's going to go in their briefcase, in their backpack. They're going to be holding it. If you're at a conference, everyone that they meet now is going to see your book. If they go on an airplane, they might read it. Someone's going to see it on a book or on the plane, right? So your book is a great way to make a memorable impression, but it's also a great way, especially if they're a partner or prospect, to see your work. They're going to check it out. And that's a great, great way to continue the conversation, to foster that connection so that you can follow up in a meaningful way. Okay, so that's another really great way to use it, as at the end of the conversation. And the flip side to that is, if I'm not willing to give somebody a copy of my book by the end of the conversation, whether I give them a book or not, but if I'm not willing to do it, meaning I don't think that conversation was worth me giving them a book, then that relationship probably isn't going to be that strong anyways, right? If I can't give them my book, then that relationship probably isn't that strong. So it's great to think about it from what you want to continue to develop a relationship, but it's also great for you to consider if you actually want that relationship because you have skin in the game by giving a copy of the book. Let's talk about some more ways. All right. Now, I really want to encourage you to start thinking about all these different use cases. You can use a book as the way to reach out to somebody. Okay. So this is really, really fun. If you are starting your book or you're writing your rough draft, reach out to people in your book. Okay. Reach out to people in your book process so you can feature somebody. Hey, I'm writing a book on leadership in the XYZ industry. You're an expert, someone that I look up to. I'd love to feature you in my book. That's a great way to connect with your ideal partners. That's what I did with The Elevated Entrepreneur, and I interviewed some amazing entrepreneurs. Okay, for example, Dr. Nicole LePere, the holistic psychologist. I didn't have a relationship with her, but I was working on my book and I wanted to feature her. So I featured her, and that's how our relationship began. And she's done some amazing, amazing things, but that was completely cold outreach because I was writing a book and we were able to build a relationship. While you're working on the book, you can use your book as a way to let people know that they inspired you. So when I was writing one of my books, Lewis Howes was one of the first podcasts I ever listened to. I emailed him. I shot him an email and I was like, Lewis, thanks so much for your inspiration, blah, 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 blah. And he responded. And then several years later, we actually were in the same room and I got to share that story with him. And that was a way for us to get another interaction. Now, am I best friends with him? No. But now we have a point of commonality, and it was all because of my book. So you can use your book as you're writing it to thank people who have impacted you and let them know that they inspired you to write this book. And that's huge. You can ask people to give you their advice so that you could potentially feature them into a book. This is a really, really cool and powerful way to be able to leverage your book and start to foster these relationships. When you launch your book, okay, you can reach out to people and ask them to promote your stuff. This is super effective to rekindle old relationships from previous mentors or from people that you haven't talked to in a long time. Why? Because you have something of such excitement, of such a big accomplishment, people are going to want to come out and support you. It's also a great chance to ask for introductions once your book is out. This is very, very powerful. Next is you can build a lot of great relationships with partners and prospects at the same time by doing this one thing. Gift your book to swag bags or to masterminds or to retreats. Gift your book, and what will happen is the event host is going to be appreciated because they're always looking for free swag to put in their swag bags and their stuff, and it's got to be aligned. But that's a great way to add value. It's a great way to build a relationship with the person hosting the event, the mastermind, the conference, etc. And if it's in alignment, the people who are getting these swag bags, the VIP tickets, the gift bags, they're likely your ideal client anyways. So now you're building the relationship, getting your book in front of your ideal clients, and then fostering the relationship with your ideal clients. That's amazing, okay? Use your book to sponsor an event or have a booth. That's a great way to build a relationship, to develop some rapport. Use your book as a gift. Okay, it's very, very challenging to get access to people via email or to just pick up the phone. But if you send them a copy of your book and you say, hey, I'd love to send you a copy of my book. You've been a big inspiration. Well, now you have an awesome opportunity here. So you can use it as a gift. You can do this with people who hire speakers. You can use this for podcast hosts. You can use this for prospects. You can use this for charities. And that often leads you to meeting the board or the executive directors or the people that can make decisions. When you do all of these things, you're able to build relationships with a variety of different people. You're planting your seeds, your book's getting out there, and all of a sudden, everything starts to happen. Magic starts to happen. Relationships start to happen. Things that you couldn't predict start to happen. This is how you start to connect with your dream partners, with your dream prospects by having a book. Notice, this will work for you if you're an introvert or an extrovert because your book does a lot of the heavy lifting. This makes it easy to connect with people because you have something of value, you have something that's interesting, and now people are going to want to at least hear what you have to say. Gets you in the door, bada bing, bada bang. Relationships are dialed in, okay? Relationships are dialed in, all right? Then the next thing that I want to share here, and then I want to wrap this up here, is when you have a book, you can build a relationship that can change your business, okay? Let me give you an example here, okay? A client of mine gave 100 copies of her book at a networking event that I was at. I went to this network event, and a client of ours, she had gifted a book or sold the book, and they were on the desk of every single person who was in attendees. Here's what happened from that. One, she was featured in a ton of social posts because people were posting about it. Great traction for the book. Great way to be introduced to a new audience. Two, she was surrounded by a lot of her dream clients and dream partners. So now they were getting their first interaction with this person was a gift. Not a, hey, what do you do? It was a gift. So now these people were already feeling like they started to get to know her. They already had name recognition. They were already starting to see it. Then she was able to meet a lot of people with much more ease because people already knew who she was because they had a copy of her book with her photo on the back cover. This was huge. And then she was able to, in these relationships, come from the frame of the author who gave the book versus a random person that I've never met. And that frame really enabled her to shift some different conversations and get deeper much, much quicker. So this is how you can use a book to connect with your dream partner. I mean, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. It starts with a book, and then once you have the book, it's about talking about the book and then giving and selling this book to the people that actually make a difference for you and for the people that you aim to serve. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about how to actually write this book, I'd love to gift you a free copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller. And you could just go to bigideatobestseller.com/free-book. That's bigideatobestseller.com/free-book. We'd love to send you a copy. Just cover the shipping. We'll send a copy straight to your doorstep, and you will have a copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, which is all about how to help you write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book to grow your business and make an impact. So that's what I have for you today. And so here's my challenge. If you have been thinking about writing a book, I want you to ask yourself, would having a book impact the relationships that you desire? If yes, let us know and we would love to help you. If the answer is no, then maybe a book's not for you at this point. If you're an existing author already working on a book, my challenge to you is this. How can you use this book this week, whatever you're at, whether you're writing, whether you're publishing, whether you've already launched, how can you use your book this week to get in front of somebody new that you've been wanting to get in touch with? Those are the challenges. This is the video. Let's rock and roll. I'll talk to you soon.